Since the release of RuneLite, it has become an integral part of many old school RuneScape players' lives. It's had a controversial past with Jagex, and it was even threatened with legal action in 2018. When it was released, there were some very grey areas of what was considered to be fair or not fair. And in 2019, Jagex released a statement of what they think is acceptable for the client and what isn't. Even now, Jagex seem to be trying to push players away from it and have even released a client of their own. However, until the official client can rival the quality of life improvements and plugin selection, it is doubtful that players will ever move away from it. And in fact, I would go as far to say that if it were to be shut down tomorrow, a lot of players would leave the game. In today's video, we're going to be covering my top 20 plugins. Please remember, these are my top 20 plugins. It's subjective, and let me know in the comments if you think I've missed a vital plugin that you would like me to cover in the future. Hopefully, a few of these you may not know, and they're going to help you improve your old school RuneScape experience. So, without further hesitation, let's get started. Also, actually, just before we start, a quick PSA. Please only install plugins that are listed in the official RuneLite hub. Don't install random plugins that some guy at the Grand Exchange say he's going to trim your armor. You're going to lose your account. So, starting off with a quality of life improvement or a way to prevent early noise-induced hearing loss is a plugin called Annoyance Mute. Have you ever been in the middle of an AFK cannoning task and you realise that noise that the cannon makes is very annoying? Then you can't seem to take your mind off it, but you need the game sounds on to know when you can go back to your screen. Well, if so, then Annoyance Mute can save you. What it does is what it says. It can selectively mute certain sounds you find annoying. I personally mute the Armadillo crossbow screech and a few others. It's a nice way to prevent yourself from going absolutely insane. On to the next one, and have you ever wanted to make yourself feel sick every time you look at your collection log? Then the collection log look plugin is what you need. Just bear in mind that you need the collection log plugin for it to work, and you may need to log out and restart the client before it shows you how disgustingly dry you've gone on certain items. The number that appears is basically how your rate is versus the rest of the user base. Next on the list is prayer overheads. Are you sick of checking your skill tab to check how much prayer you've got when you fight a boss? Well, this plugin makes it very easy. It simply displays a bar over your head which shows how much prayer you have left, and it can also do HP, which is great. You just need to go into the settings and turn the overhead indicator on. Like the prayer overhead, the boost information is another great plugin, and it's a great way of being able to keep track of your boosted stats without going into your skills menu. It displays how much time is left on your boosts, so you know how long you've got until you need to worry about potting again. Make sure you tick display info boxes to display it, and use the Alt key to move the element around your screen as you see fit. Next one is extremely useful, and it can save you a few ticks here and there, but most importantly, it can actually improve your account security. It's really useful if you stream or make videos. So it's called Bank. Well, it's pre-installed on RuneLite, but it's called Bank, and in there is a setting called Keyboard Bank Pin. And what it does is when you go to the bank, obviously normally you enter your pin, you're normally going to click manually onto each number, which would give would-be potential hackers a really use of peaceful information. And with this plugin, you can literally use your keyboard. So you could use your number pad, and it lets you use your keyboard to enter your pin. And it doesn't really show which keys you've used, especially if you're fast enough. So it's really useful, and I would recommend it to anyone. Anti-drag is the next plugin, and it's one that I've only recently installed, and it's actually been a game changer. I know it's been out a while, but if you've not installed it, please do. There's nothing more annoying than clicking onto your food to eat and holding the button just for a tick too long, and you end up dragging your food rather than eating it. And with this plugin, it just pretty much prevents it. Yeah, it can be a little bit annoying when you're trying to rearrange your inventory during a raid, but the benefit totally outweighs the negatives for me. And you can also customize the amount of time you want it to take before it lets you drag. Next on the list is it's a plugin called the Minimap plugin, and it actually lets you zoom in and out of the minimap, which is a nice quality of life feature, especially if you're in the wilderness. So you're going to be looking for the white dot. Look for the white dot, and hop is the mantra. Entity Hider is the next one on the list, and it lets you play completely on your own, and it does give off some real backroom vibes. No, but in all seriousness, if you're escaping on your old potato laptop and it's just lagging like anything, turn on Entity Hider and just watch your FPS fly. Hopefully you don't always have to play like this, but it's an option if you need to upgrade your PC or you can't quite afford a new upgrade just yet. Bank Heatmap is the next one on the list, and yeah, if you've ever looked at your bank value and wondered where is all my valuables, because I can't see them. Well, the Bank Heatmap plugin, it does what it says. It basically gives you a heat map. It shows you your most valuable items in red and your least valuable in blue. It's a nice way to find the valuable items in your bank when you need the GP. And for me, that is very regularly. So this one is a little bit of a fun one, and it adds an extra dimension to the game. Sometimes it's a little bit glitchy, but generally it is very good. And what it does is it places the NPC dialogue over that NPC's head, giving a more real person feel to the NPC. And you could always pair it with the text-to-speech plugin, which yeah, comes out with some strange things sometimes, but very fun, and it's called NPC Overhead Dialogue. The next plugin is a plugin that, if it didn't exist, it's highly likely that I wouldn't even bother doing clue scrolls, and it's called Clue Scroll Plugin. And it literally gives you every single step to your clue scrolls, and it even highlights items you need to get and if they are already in your bank. It just makes clue scrolls so much easier. You don't have to keep looking at the wiki, etc, etc. Item Prices is a nice little plugin that basically gives you the high out value of an item and the exchange price of an item as you hover over the item. Paired with a heat map plugin, it can actually save you so much time rather than having to keep going into the GE, searching, or even looking it up on the wiki. So this next one isn't exactly a plugin, but I have played this game for over 15 years, and this is one of the things that I just cannot believe I did not know. So obviously, when you buy something from the Grand Exchange, you click on the item to collect it into your inventory, and then click onto the note and ask the banker to unnote it. Well, I do not like to tell you, but in the exchange window, simply right-click onto the item and press collector's item. Simple and extremely upsetting at the same time. The next plugin is for people that are directionally challenged, like me. And you know, sometimes there are that many different options to get somewhere. You have to pull up the wiki page to find out the quickest way there. Well, now the shortest path plugin is basically Google Maps for OS/RS. Sometimes it can be slightly glitchy, but generally it's going to give you a nice path to where you need to go, especially useful for places that are hard to reach. Just bear in mind it's the shortest path, not the quickest way there. So it won't display teleports other than fairy rings, spirit trees, etc. The next plugin is very much well known, but it's worth a mention just because of how much it can increase your dopamine production. Simply go into the ground items plugin settings and adjust the values so you can get a beautiful dopamine hit every time you get a drop worth over whatever value you define. I quite like to highlight hammers just because it makes me feel better in the God Wars dungeon. Again, another well-known one, but did you know that the quest helper can help you do diaries and has a cool little feature that you can get it to display items in your bank required for that quest, and even offers a quick search option on the exchange. So yeah, no XP waste there. The next one on the list is inventory setups, and I promise you don't know all of these ones. No, the next one's coming up, but a little thing about inventory setups plugin that I actually didn't know until very recently. And if you actually click onto the icons in the plugin menu, it actually filters and sorts your bank for you. So you've not actually got any need to tag every single item in your bank anymore. Save your setup and basically click the little eye icon, and it's going to filter everything for you. Again, another possibly well-known one, but custom menu swap is fantastic. It basically just improves how quick you can complete tasks. If you've got a bindable key on your mouse, bind one of the keys to shift and hold down shift, click onto an item, and it's going to come up with a menu which can completely change the interaction with that item. One of my personal favourite things to do is with ladders. For example, in the Grand Tree, you can go up and down with ease, holding and releasing shift. You've not got to keep right clicking on them and misclicking like I do. The next one is Daily Task Indicator. So I only use this one for miscellanea, but it's just a way to keep you in check and keep you logging in, keep that grind up. But you can have it for your Nightmare Zone boxes or even your battle staffs. And it's just a passive way of monitoring when you can do things without having to worry too much about them. You don't actually have to go to miscellanea anymore. It just pops up in the chat box, and you can see it every time you log in. And it actually prompts you a bit more to visit more often. And finally is status bars. And I might be going a bit overboard with how much HP and prayer info I have on the screen, but I like the look of it more than anything. When I turned it off, it just doesn't look very nice, but it shows your HP and your prayer on the edges of your inventory, and it saves you having to keep checking your skill tab, and while you're looking at what food you've got, you can always monitor your HP and your prayer. So yeah, it's really good. And yeah, that's it. That's my top 20 plugins, and like I said, it's all subjective. A lot of mine are, quality of life improvements more than efficiency improvements. But thank you for watching, and I hope you found at least one plugin that will improve your gameplay. Again, let me know in the comments if you think I've missed one that you want me to cover in the future. And please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you at the next one. See ya.